I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. It is a joy to speak to the Minister of Tourism of the State of Israel, a man who has served in many important national security posts these last war-fighting years, born in Haifa, and we've traveled from Masada through the Jordan River Valley, the Dead Sea, all the way up to Jerusalem, but now the fast highways down to Tel Aviv. Ben Gurion Airport is where you enter. And Mr. Minister, I've traveled to Israel. I've been privileged to travel there many times, and the El Al airline is not only the safest, but the most direct, and actually it's a treat because you're in Israel the moment you enter into El Al security at Kennedy or any other airport in the United States. And that security is critical to emphasize, and I want to do that because Israel's recently been pummeled by the gangsters and Hamas and has suffered lots of reversals and lost lots of young men fighting against Hamas. But my experience traveling there during the war is that Israeli security is uninterrupted. Is that an accurate statement?
Well, we have been there surrounded by terrorists since the establishment of the state.
Right.
And when it comes to the modern terrorism, for example, one variation of this theme is the Hamas extremists in Gaza. Not only in Gaza, but they are governing basically a terror state headed by Hamas in Gaza. We just had the last operation of Protective Edge, where those who had the brunt of this terrorism were those who live very close to Gaza. But in the rest of the country, the feeling of safety and security was continuing, making life, routine way of life, almost as usual. We had our Iron Dome,
right.
Batteries that made it simply safe for our society just to go on, make it possible for the IDF, our security forces, to fight terrorism in Gaza, but continue to run our day-to-day life almost as usual. I say almost, because you have to, of course, take all of the precautions and careful measures in order to avoid any problem. And the fact of the matter is that but for 3 casualties who were civilians and were close to the Gaza area, all of the others are our soldiers who died in those missions.
Tel Aviv.
Israel is secured and safe.
I agree, and the joke during the conflict was that the Hamas gangsters were boasting that they'd managed to intercept the Iron Dome 95% of the time with their rockets. To the beaches of Tel Aviv, I do not have any experience, but you live near the beach to the north. This is part of Israel that isn't much considered when you look at the history, but this is a Mediterranean beachfront city. It's as gorgeous as the French Riviera.
Well, it was the Geographical Society's magazine that put Tel Aviv as one within the first 10 most attractive beaches or Mediterranean or ocean cities in the world. This is Tel Aviv, this is Haifa and Ashkelon. We have beautiful beaches. You can not only go today in this city, in Tel Aviv, which is once again alive and kicking and just highly attractive. You can go there by boats on the Mediterranean as much as you can go by boats on the Sea of Galilee. In the Dead Sea, you can also go by boats, but it's not that, it's a different type of water. And again, with another couple of hours of drive, you can go to the Red Sea. That's all within Israel. Israel is a small place. If, for example, you are either in Jerusalem or in Tel Aviv, within an hour and a half drive, without violating traffic regulations, you can either go to the mountains up there at the north, in the winter you got snow over there, you can go with another couple of hours, hour and a half drive to the northern part of the Negev. It's a totally different kind of experience. If you look to the Judean desert, if you just look from Jerusalem eastward, you see an empty yellow terrain with the typical vegetation of a desert, wildlife of the desert. If you look just westward from this watershed and you look to the Tel Aviv area and to the coastal plains, everything is green, everything is developed, depending very much what you wish to do. If you want, for example, to watch birds, Israel and the Jordan Valley is a huge, I would say, trajectory, travel path of millions and millions of different birds coming from the northern parts of Siberia down to Africa, just to have a better conditions during the winter, and vice versa. Whatever you wish to do, if you are in Tel Aviv, for example, you can enjoy those restaurants, culinary type of an experience. Wineries, we have over 250 modern boutique wineries in Israel, and you have museums and operas. By the way, you mentioned opera. Last June, we had this opera of La Traviata on the footsteps of Masada. It was something breathtaking. And then we had another opera the following week in the ancient city of Akko, of Acre, that goes down to the times of the Crusaders and much before, and we had it in the excavated parts of the underground halls of Akko. One of our major challenges in our ministry is to make this type of Israel known to the rest of the world. People just are not fully aware of what Israel looks like with respect to the tourist attractions, should I add, with respect to the safety, and more than that, to the people that will welcome everyone with open arms, with friendship.
Let's check off Galilee, which you call Gadir. What is the Israeli word for it? The
Galilee, Upper Galilee.
Yeah, the Kitteret. I can't remember. There's a Hebrew word for what you call the Galilee. But the Galilee is green and it's surrounded by farms, and it's to the north, and there are large cities where you can stay on the Sea of Galilee, and then above you are the hills that become the Golan Heights.
That's right.
And that part of Israel is completely different experience as you move towards the mountains in the north, where the watershed is coming down from Lebanon. And my experience there was, again, it's a very sophisticated town, but it's quite separate. It's a different experience from Jerusalem and Tel Aviv.
Well, things are differently, not just because of the terrain, because of the very fact that Jerusalem is a very special city.
Right.
Nothing matched anywhere else in the world, and also in Israel. Tel Aviv is totally different. It's a very modern city, vibrant city. You speak, for example, in the north, you have the city of Tiberias just next and on
that
the
was the
Sea
one I
of
was
Galilee.
trying to think of with the casinos and then the fishing on the shores.
That's right. And just north of that, you have areas which are also highly holy to the Christian community. We had Capernaum, we have Tabcha, we have Magdala. Not far from there, we have Nazareth. And all of these places, again, are those places where history was just in the making many, many years ago, and these places are very dear to many people in the world.
I'm very pleased to have welcomed the Minister of Tourism. We've done a very quick trip through the state of Israel. It took me, I guess, close to 20 trips to just touch on what I've mentioned. The minister has the advantage on me, having been born in Israel, and I thank you very much for joining us here in New York. And also I look forward to sitting with you the next time and talking about that footpath up Masada. Now that you've told me about it, climbing it, I feel regretful that I took the cable car and didn't climb up in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.